was originally born in Venezuela, but I never grew up there. My father worked for an international company, so we moved around a lot. So I've lived in many countries. I've lived in the Dominican Republic, I've lived in Ecuador, I lived in several places in the States. So I kind of grew up a little bit everywhere. Then went to school in Savannah. I went to Savannah College of Art and Design a few years ago. SCAD was barely starting when I went to SCAD. And then my intention was to go back to Venezuela since I did not grow up there. And I grew up very half American, half Venezuelan. So I wanted to kind of take a break from all the moving around and just settle in Venezuela. But unfortunately, the government situation took over very quickly shortly after I graduated. So I moved back to the States and stayed in the States. I have a BFA in fashion. And I have a minor in art history. It's kind of odd because let's say my professional background starts very, very, very early on. I started designing when I was around 10. And I made my first wedding gown at the age of 14. A customer actually wore my design that I actually designed and made at the age of 14 down the aisle. So that I knew that was set. There's no way I was doing anything else. So I actually started working with my own designs from before I started college. And then after I graduated from SCAD, which I did as quickly as possible because I needed to get out of there. I needed to start working. I actually tried to drop out several times and my parents wouldn't let me drop out. I just wanted to work. And so I graduated in 3 years and it kind of fell in my lap. You know, since I had been doing this for so long as a teenager, when I graduated, everybody was like, okay, finally you graduated, let's start working. So I had clients come to me right as soon as I got out of college. So without even planning anything or really looking for it, I had a business. I realized, all of a sudden I had a business. So I just basically started working on my own, designing custom-made evening wear and bridal gowns. And that kept growing. I grew pretty well, pretty healthy until about 2007 when everybody's business went down the toilet. And that's when I made my biggest change. Depends on the day. I am usually very, very girly, I guess, but very, let's say, Audrey Hepburn kind of girly, very classy, classical, like I don't add too much on. I don't wear very much makeup, just the red lipstick is usually red lipstick. But then there are days where I just want to put on like a pair of 501 jeans, a pair of sneakers, and a t-shirt, and that's it. It all depends on the day. Or, if I go to the gym and I don't feel like changing, I'll wear gym clothes. That sounds horrible, but I do it. So, yeah. And, I make sportswear, so I'll wear Outplay and just hang out in it a lot. So it all depends on the day. Actually, it's not a short story. So I'm going to try to summarize it as much as I can. In 2007, when everything was falling apart on everybody, especially those of us who were in the retail industry, it felt like overnight. It must have happened maybe in a month or so, which is a really short period of time. In my head, it was like overnight. We were selling at Saks and Neiman's and all these boutiques throughout the country. And all of a sudden, all the boutiques, 50, 60% of the boutiques closed their doors overnight without paying, I have to add. Saks never placed another order. We canceled our order with Neiman's because we didn't want them to cancel it on us because that cost a lot of money. So it was just like it snowballed into this huge mess. And in that mess, I was trying to keep afloat and I was trying to survive because basically that's what we were all doing, trying to survive that mess in 2007, 2008. Something happened where I said, there's got to be something more that I can do. There's got to be something that I can do with my talent that makes more sense. And it wasn't about I need to find another business that makes money. It wasn't about that. It was just, I was very tired. This industry is very, very tough. And it's not like I was making all the money in the world and I was sitting back and not doing anything. I mean, I was packing boxes and I had a huge team of people and I still had so much physical work and business work, office work and paperwork. I was exhausted and I was mentally exhausted as a designer. So I felt that there had to be something else I could do that can still do what I love to do, which is create and come up with these amazing things that I can come up with in my head and make, you know, make them real. But that I could affect people's lives better. So I joined forces with Bernadette Smith, who at the time was the very first gay wedding planner in the country. And her company was called 14 Style. I mean, 14 Stories. I'm sorry, my mistake. 14 Stories. And the reason why it was called 14 Stories was because it was the 14th Amendment that gave the right for blacks and whites to marry. It was also 14 people who went to in Massachusetts that were first moved everything in order to change the law for marriage equality in Massachusetts. So at 14 meant a lot. So she named her company 14 Stories. So what we did was we joined forces and we created a company called 14. At the time, we were the first ones to do this. We created a line where I designed jackets, vests, and pants that you could mix and match. And they were wedding attire for anybody who didn't want to wear a dress when they got married. So I felt, okay, this is different. And this is where I'm helping people fill this little gap that doesn't exist in the market. The person who doesn't want to wear a dress, they're stuck with buying a suit where they feel uncomfortable going into the store, that it doesn't fit properly. And then they have to spend money on buying the suit that doesn't fit properly, to take it to a tailor to get it fit properly, which costs another fortune. And it was too much. So I wanted to offer people this option. And we made it mix and match so it didn't matter where you fell on the spectrum. It was just that, if I want the blouse to be really, really girly and the jacket to be very, very manly, you could just add it and mix it up all you want. So we came up with that. And I worked on it for about 3 years. I actually did almost 2 years of pure research in order to get it done right and the fit. I mean, the fit had to be perfect. I believe that any brand, fit comes before anything else. If your fit doesn't work, it doesn't matter what you thought of. It doesn't matter how pretty it looks or how cool it looks. Fit doesn't work, you're done. You might sell it once, but that's it. So in order to accommodate the fitting, it took me about 1.5 years, almost 2 years of trial and error and a lot of focus groups. And I kept trying on people and fitting people, and I would just sit there and listen. I like listening. So I sat at these meetings and I listened to them try the clothes on, and I listened to them talking afterwards, and swimwear kept coming up as the biggest problem. And it was horror stories. It wasn't just like, oh, I can't find anything to wear. No, it was just horror story after horror story. And I kept thinking, wait, they're not complaining about the shirt and the jacket. They're complaining about the swimwear. And this is the biggest problem they've got. And so I did some research. So I asked my business partner, I asked Bernadette, if she was interested in adding swimwear to 14. The beginning, she was okay about it. She was a little iffy. She's new to the garment industry, so she didn't know much about the garment industry. So she was a little, I'm not sure. And I kept saying, this is what we got to do. This is where we can make the most difference. And then one day she just said, she called me up and she said, this industry is too hard. I know you warned me about it, but it's too hard. I'm out. And just left me. So, it wasn't her thing. I understood it's not your thing. I can take it because I love what I do, and I understand the industry is insane and it's harsh and it's cruel, but I love it. I think us designers kind of have to have some kind of something missing up here to take it, but I take it. So I closed 14 right away because it really didn't make sense. Financially, it wasn't making sense financially. We were pouring money into it. It was making no money. It was very expensive to produce what we were producing. At one point, I was like cutting and sewing nonstop myself. So that wasn't, and I had to take care of the business. So it didn't make much sense. So within 2 months, I had put together, with all the research I did for 14, I had put together everything for Outplay and launched Outplay. And what I did was I launched Outplay with pre-orders first to make sure it would work. And it was just such a huge hit right off the bat that I knew this was it. I could really make a difference in people's lives with something so simple as swimwear. And that's how Outplay came to life. I actually launched Outplay in May of 2014. So between 2007 and 2014, it was all basically concentrated on 14, the brand 14. And then in 2014, I launched Outplay. It is a bigger problem than people realize it is. I wanted to use a play on words. I wanted it to sound strong. I wanted it to sound that it could mean much more than just a name. So Outplay is the fact that you can outplay yourself, you can outplay somebody else, you can be better, you can be a better you. It also takes into, it plays with, you can see in the font as well. You can go out and play, go outside and play. Don't wear this to hang out inside and just not do anything. Just go out and move. And at the same time, it's outplay. It means out, meaning this is for you. You can go out and feel comfortable and not have body issues because Outplay's here to help you. That's the play on words. So that's where it came from. Currently, we only sell online, either through our website or other websites. We sell through Amazon. We sell through other websites such as Redimo, which is a great online non-gender conforming clothing accumulation of brands. And so we have a few stores online that sell our products. We don't sell retail yet because I was burned in the past. I have stores that still haven't paid me since 2007. So I'm a little iffy about going into wholesale yet. I am opening up to the option of going to stores because we have had stores come up to us and ask us if we will wholesale to them. So I think it's time that because this is a personal thing, personal fear, I actually do start opening myself up to that possibility. We are, though, negotiating wholesale sales in Europe, though, which will be great because we sell a lot to Europe and shipping to Europe is crazy insane and people still pay it because there's no other option. So, and I wish we could make it less expensive, but unfortunately we're not big enough to have, amazing prices for international shipping. But hopefully if we're able to sell internationally, if we can sell in Europe, people in Europe will be able to have much easier access to our products, which will be awesome. Getting everybody, getting it out there. I'd love to sell retail in Australia because we sell a lot to Australia, but I don't have any contacts. So if anybody knows of anybody, I want to get to Australia somehow. Yeah, so that's how we work. So you just place your order on our website, and within 24 hours, if the product is in stock, your order is shipped out. And if anything doesn't fit, probably because our swimwear is so different, the sizing is very different. I came up with a sizing chart that's very unique to us. And because the product itself, especially the tops, are so different, the compression levels affect how everything fits. So sometimes you do have to try it on, send it back, get it exchanged until you find the right fit, the right size, and exactly how much compression you really want or need. So we do have, easy exchange issues or policies, and you can return anything within 30 days as long as, it hasn't been worn, just try it on. And so it's pretty easy because we understand it's not an everyday product. It's not something you see every day or it's existed forever. So you do have to kind of try it on and see if it's for you and see what fits best. Let me double check because I believe it's called Redimo, but let me double check it because I change names a lot. I switch my names in my head a lot, unfortunately. I'm going to look for that very quickly. I'm sorry I didn't have that.
No.
It's Redimola. It's Radimola. By Danielle, and she has been, she's been amazing with it. She discovered us when we were just started. I think we had been open for about 1.5 years. And she just emailed one day and said, hey, I have a huge following on Instagram and on YouTube. I'd love to try your product. And she bought a top and a bottom. And you know, it's not something like we paid her to say anything. No, she bought her top and bottom, and she was just like in awe and just talks about us nonstop, which is very cool. And then she started this website where she sells several different brands that are all just gender neutral. And so she includes us on there. So she sells Outplay as well. Cool. She's one very cool person. We have swimwear and some sportswear. We're starting to add a little more sportswear. The swimwear, we have a variety of tops and bottoms. Well, just like sportswear, we have tops and bottoms as well. In swimwear, our tops all come in 3 compression levels. Well, some come in 2 compression levels, some in 3 compression levels. Compression levels are no compression, low compression, and high compression. They are not binders. I get people that are angry all the time going, this is not a binder. Yes, it's not a binder, because you cannot use a binder to swim in and be active in. You have to be able to move, and it has to be able to stretch with you, or you're going to cause yourself a lot of physical harm. So what we do is that I created this level of layers of fabric that create the compression. Then you have the outer layer. So no compression is obviously just the regular lycra that you use in swimwear, but just the same cut as everything else. Then low compression has the outer layer of fabric, the lining, because everything's lined. I like everything to be really nice inside. So that's my couture side still in my head. Everything needs to be lined, and everything has to be pretty on the inside as well. So it's the outer layer, the lining, and in between the lining for the low compression, the front of the top has this mesh material that still stretches, but much less than everything else. And that compresses in the front. High compression has that same material in the front and in the back, so it smushes you in as much as possible from every end. So that is what creates the compression and acts kind of like a binder that you can be active in swimming. That's how we do that. So all our tops come in either low compression and high compression, or no compression, low compression, and high compression. We actually sell a lot more no compression than I ever expected us to, but it's because of the shape or in the cuts of the tops. So not everybody wants the compression and the binding effect. A lot of people just want the more androgynous cut, which is really cool. And then we have short tops and long tops, a variety, and we're adding slowly, but we're adding new options and colors and stuff. And then what I tried to do from the beginning is that we offer 5 main colors. So you can mix and match anything, and you'll always be able to match your top to your bottom. So you can today buy a swimming, which is the short top, and a tomboy, which is one of our first shorts. And then maybe, 6 months down, you don't want those shorts anymore, or you want to mix it up a little, but you want to keep the same color, then you could buy a pair of board shorts or Doasana shorts, and they'll always match. We might have slight difference when we have new production. The fabric might not be exactly the same color, but it's so close that only those of us who know about the industry will catch the difference in color. The rest of the people won't, so that's okay. Yeah, so that's what we do. And then we have, now for sportswear, we have sports bras, some really cool pants. We have like 3 different pairs of pants, and we have board shorts. I keep trying to add on little by little. We had a little bit of, no, lying. We had a horrible disaster with that factory with board shorts at the beginning. So we're still trying to recoup from that and try to add new board shorts on there, but I think we got that one covered now, finally. What else do we have? I think it just keeps growing with the tops and the bottoms for swimwear mainly. We keep adding more and more and more. But then this year, for the first time, we're going to have, for Pride, we're going to have a very unique collection that will be only for limited time. Once it's sold out, it's done. We're not bringing it back. With a very cool Pride pattern that's just a mix of pictures from Pride events in all around the world, and with a really unique design. And then what we want to do is every year for Pride, in Miami, it's in April. So we're going to start in April, and every year for Pride, we're going to bring in a new collection. So you can collect all the Pride collections from every year. So we'll have the traditional short top that we call the swimming. We'll have the shorts, and this year we're going to have these really cool, like capri pants that are like jogger pants that have this huge, very colorful, very cool print on, and those will be part of the collection as well. So that's coming in April for a little bit of time, but it's coming in April. It's coming very soon. Very soon. We should be getting that stuff in from our factory probably in the next month or so. And we are going to have our very first really big Pride event during Pride Miami Beach this year. And that's when we're really going to finally just launch it. So we have pictures of it and everything, but we're like holding on to those pictures. I don't have a routine. No day is like the other. I'm a little OCD and very organized, and I still can't manage to really do what I say I'm going to do at every hour that I'm going to do it. We all wear a lot of hats here. We all do a lot. I try, because we're so small, I do try to outsource what we can't hire for right now because we're so small. And like I said, we're 100% fully self-funded. So as we grow, we're funding ourselves with what we're producing. So we don't have, VC money coming in and us hiring 30 people. That would be awesome, but that's not what we're doing. So I'm in charge of, I have to design, I have to create, I have to make sure that photographers are taking the pictures that we need, that, what's being posted on Instagram is what we need to, put out there. And I work with the factories. I'm the only one that works directly with the factories. So I'm constantly talking to the factories, getting production sent, it's a little bit of everything, really. There's no really real order to it yet. We're starting to have, after 4 years, we're starting to have kind of a procedure to everything that gets done. But because we're so small, I guess we all still try to, our roles aren't very separated yet. And we still overlap on a lot. Describe myself as founder and head designer. 4, without counting everybody else that chips in and what we outsource. It has a lot to do with listening. I listen a lot. I like to, I go to all the events that we do, and I talk to every single model, and I talk to people outside, and I make sure I talk to as many people as I can to get a glimpse or an idea of what people are feeling comfortable in, what makes them uncomfortable, what they wear now and they don't realize. If you just listen to people without them knowing, they're telling you what the problem is. So 99.9% of what I design is based on what I heard, what I was told, and I could interpret that into, this is my solution to, I've heard this problem 8 times. Let me look into this, and this is what I'm going to design to that solution. To that problem. This is my solution to that problem. And that's kind of what I do. It's very different it's a very different system or way of designing from what I used to do. When I was doing bridal, it was kind of what I just came to me in the most creative way possible. And didn't need to have any reasoning behind it as long as I could make it. And I am very persistent on, if I can dream it and I can come up with it in my head, I know I can make it. I'm not, I guess I'm a very functional designer. So in my head, I make sure that the pattern and the cutting and everything works in my head. If it works in my head, I can produce it. And so if I have somebody say, that's not possible, no, go back and try, because I know it's possible. That's how I got these tops made, because everybody kept telling me, you can't make these swim tops like this. And I kept saying, you can. This is what you're going to do. Let's go do it. And it was back and forth with, several manufacturers until I found a factory that fell in love with the idea, was completely open to every crazy idea I had. And I finally got to make what I wanted to make. That's how I did it. So it's a very different process from making beautiful wedding gowns to making very functional, very cool looking swimwear. I use almost everything in Colombia. The reason why I do that is it's not cost, because it's not inexpensive to produce in Colombia. So it's not whatever, everybody's like, oh, you do it overseas because it's cheap. Nope, not cheap. It's because the best Lycra in the world is made in Colombia. And I need my product to be top notch. You're going to wear that thing and you're going to wear it and wear it and wear it. And it's not going to lose its color. It's not going to lose its shape. I mean, it's swimwear, so eventually it will kind of stretch a little, but you know, it's going to be the best. It's not going to be the swimwear that you can buy for $10 at Target or Walmart because it's made in China, who knows where. I know every single factory I work with. I've been to every single factory I work with. I've seen how they work, how these people work in the factory. So that's another thing that's very important to me. I practice what I preach. I will not sell product produced in a factory that I haven't been to, that I don't know where or how they're working and what conditions they're working in. The factories I work with actually have, you know, daycares for the mothers that have kids, and they have education programs for the mothers that work there. So they're very aligned. They're aligned with my thought process and my ethics and my morals. And again, and it's the best product. The best country in the world to manufacture anything that stretches is Colombia. Their manufacturing is impeccable. And the fabrics, I mean, I can literally create, if I tell them I want a fabric that's wicking and it's antibacterial and it stretches this much but not this much, and I want it to change colors, they'll make it for me. And it'll be the best fabric in the world. So, you know, it was a no-brainer. So that's why I produce in Colombia. I do everything that's t-shirts, and most of our cotton is made in the US because you can't get better t-shirts than t-shirts made in the US. So I do manufacture t-shirts in the US. But that's about it. Oh, yeah, well, everything ranges. Let me see. I'm thinking we have bottoms that start about $25, like our bikini bottoms that are like surfer bikini bottoms. I think there's about $25. And I think our most expensive product is our sweatpants that are about close to $70. So everything's about there. Most of our tops are between, I believe, $40 and $50 something dollars, $56, $57. So everything's about that range. Yeah, we're not $10, but we're not $300. I you know, my purpose isn't to get as much money as I can out of, you know, 5 products. My purpose is to be able to grow and be able to offer the market as many solutions and options as possible that are accessible to anybody. So that's why I wanted to keep the price points as accessible as possible, still being able to produce the best quality product as possible. Because I could have these products made in China and sell them for, you know, $15, but they're gonna break. They're not gonna be the same thing. You know, I need it to be the best product possible. So we found a good price point for us.
And then
I can show you. This is a mess. You have no idea what this looks like. There's swimwear and little pieces of fabric everywhere. I can show you something that we're working on right now that we haven't launched. Sure. This is actually a collection that we're doing with Danielle, the owner of Dimola. She really, really likes mesh. And she loves our tops. So we came up with these tops. These are, see if you can see that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you see it's short.
Mm-hmm.
So it has the mesh part in the top, but then this part is a compression top like the rest of our tops. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to get this in no compression, low compression, high compression. And then we have the same version, but it's even shorter and no sleeves. It's a little shorter, no sleeves. And the back is a little, kind of like a baseball t-shirt, kind of. And then we have the long version, which would be similar to our, let's say, our flat C, which is the longest top we have. So it goes all the way down like a t-shirt, and all the black area has compression in it. I believe this is actually high compression. So you got, I don't know if you can see this on the screen. It's got, well, it's all completely lined, so you can't really see the compression area, but it's got compression in the back, so I can't really stretch it much. These are hard to put on. The high compression is really hard to put on. So, but then it has the mesh on top, like a t-shirt. I'm gonna add zippers soon, but not quite yet. These all you pull over your head, so they are a little hard to put on and take off, or a little hard. But once you got a hang of it, you're fine. But once you put it on, it's like this tight glove that you put on, and it's pretty comfortable too. Like, I can wear them and it was pretty comfortable. We've been to Queer Fashion Week, which was amazing in Oakland. That was about 2 or 3 years ago. We've done this event called Unconventional, which is a traveling show. We're actually, Outplay is sponsored. The big event we're doing for Pride this year in Miami Beach is Unconventional Miami, sponsored by Outplay. It's not our event 100%. We convinced the producer of Unconventional to bring the event to Miami, and we're sponsoring the whole thing. So we're going to have different brands, and it'll be a really cool show, but Outplay is actually bringing them down. So, and Unconventional is a very cool show. The creator is Fallon Davis. She was the creator of a Queer Fashion Week as well. The idea is to bring everything that's unconventional, that's where the name comes from, that has to do with fashion and art. And it is for the unconventional person who wants to, can be anywhere from gay, lesbian, bisexual, to trans, to straight. It doesn't matter. As long as you can express yourself within the fashion and the art world, that's who this show is for. So we're bringing the show down to Miami. And Unconventional is, we've been to the show in Nashville. Last year we were in Nashville. We were in Atlanta last month. We're going to be in Toronto in July, Miami in April. And I believe I think there's a show in LA at the end of the year as well. And before that, we also did an event called What is Butch, which was kind of the same idea. And it was a traveling show as well. So Outplay was always present in all these shows as well. So I get the chance to speak to people all around the country, and not only the models that are trying it on. I have now, at the beginning, it was just like, oh, this is very cool. Now I get models going, oh my God, I just bought this last week and I love it. And I was like, yay, tell me all about it. I want to hear it all. So it's very cool to hear when people walk up to you and say, I bought this top like a month ago or 2 months ago or whenever, and I love it. I mean, when I get comments, especially when people write in or email in, or people call, I've had mothers call. And it is just, oh my God, I tear up every single time. And that's when days when it's like, as an entrepreneur and as a designer, there are days when you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm tired. Why am I doing this? And all of a sudden you get this email or you get this call and you're like, this is why. Oh my God. It's just mind blowing. So I get to hear it in person when we do all these traveling shows, which is really, really cool. We don't, because I think it goes hand in hand with the fact that we're self-funded. We can't just produce like random stuff and have it not sell, or produce something that only lasts a little bit without really having a thought process behind it. We don't think about trends. I do not concentrate on trends whatsoever when we're designing. What I do is I concentrate on my customer, and it's what my customer really needs and wants. Most of my customers don't buy 5 swimwear every year. You know, they want one and they just want to stick to it and they just want to be comfortable in it. So if I get too trendy, that's not my customer. My customer needs a solution and wants to feel great and look great and just be able to go swimming. You know, a lot of my customers, I mean, I'd love to read you some comments. A lot of my customers haven't been swimming or haven't been out for years because they didn't find anything that made them feel comfortable out in the world, you know, swimming or running or jogging or even at the gym. And this isn't something that they wear because it's cool, because it's in, it's because, you know, everybody else is wearing it, the cool kids are wearing it. No, it's because this is what makes them not only feel good and look good, but that allows them to go back to these activities that they've always wanted to do but weren't doing for a reason, because there was no way for them to do it in a comfortable way. So trends are definitely not part of my design process at all. Not really, because have you seen what Ellen wears when they take pictures of her at the beach or at the pool? Ugly thing. No, I've been trying to get to her somehow so she can wear some Outplay and look really cool in it, but it's really hard to get to her. Yeah, the only pictures I've ever seen her wear of her in the swimwear and swimsuit is like this really weird black looking plain one piece, which is like, that's not you, Ellen. I can help you. Trust me. I can help you. But yeah, no, No, and I think because I don't look at celebrities or, and because I believe that most celebrities are putting out an image that they need to portray that necessarily is what they want to wear. It's not necessarily what they feel comfortable in, and it's not necessarily what they chose. Most of the time, somebody else chose it for them. So that can't influence me because that's not functional for my customer. Honestly, it's crazy how swimwear is such a huge swimwear and sportswear, because sportswear, one way or another, is still related in there because um, as much as you want to wear board shorts and look as masculine as you want or as possible, there are certain parts of your body that don't fit into what was designed and made for you know, a certain body. So what we've done is, for example, with our board shorts, is our board shorts are made so your shape, your hips, your butt fit comfortably, but it doesn't accentuate anything. So it looks at the end, it looks like a board short. It doesn't look like porn fitting or hip hugging, or it just fits like a board short. That's it, and that was all just listening. This is what I wish, or and it usually is. I bought these, whatever Quicksilver, whatever shorts. My butt doesn't fit, and my hips, yeah, because they're not made with your measurements in mind. And it might sound a little controversial, but it's true. When I was doing all the research for 14, I realized through all this studying and measuring, and most of the more masculine leaning women do not have traditional female measurements. And they don't have male measurements either. They're in the middle. This is why it's so hard to find clothing. That's why our size chart is so different, because we had to accommodate two different types of bodies within one size chart. So we fit into these people who are more masculine leaning, have these very odd measurements that are like in the middle that aren't either way. We were able to fit them into our size chart, but that's one of the biggest reasons people don't know that, because, well, obviously, who goes into doing all this research and measuring all these people for fun? But it's actually what we came up with. We couldn't believe it. With my pattern maker and I, we would sit there and we would measure people, and then we'd go sit and analyze all these numbers, and we were like, this is crazy, and it all adds up. Like, it wasn't just one. It was like 15 out of 20 people. So that's how we came up with all this. So, and that's the biggest problem with swimwear, or clothing in general, but because swimwear is so particular about how it has to fit on you, if these measurements are traditional female measurements or traditional male measurements, they're not going to fit a large portion of the community. It is kind of hard to know exactly who my customer is. I mean, to pinpoint every single person, but from the people that we've received emails from, who've told us like their life stories via email, people that we have seen, that I've met in person, we have a wide range. We do have quite a big of F2M who are either transitioning, starting to, or just want to feel more masculine. That's a big chunk of our market. We have a lot of butch women are part of our market, but I think huge chunk is just people who are non-conforming, who just don't want to wear flowers and little hearts, and don't want to wear, the most manly thing in the world that still doesn't fit them right. They just want to be smack in the middle. They don't care if they're a she or a he. It's just smack in the middle. And that is the biggest market we have. I mean, we do have like a little spillover now where we have a lot of surfer girls, and skateboarder girls that don't, I mean, it doesn't really matter where they fall. It's just, this is more comfortable for them. We do have, I mentioned this a lot. I had a call from a mom once that said that her daughter did whitewater rafting, but she had very large breasts. So it was very hard to find something for her daughter to wear while whitewater rafting. And this was exactly what she needed because it solved every single issue for her daughter's big breasts while whitewater rafting. So we do have some extreme sports people who are starting to catch on to the brand, and because everything stays in its place. Even our bikini bottoms they stay in their place, and they're made, for surfers, so they stay in their place. They don't have to pull their wedgie out while they're surfing. So it's starting to spill over to these other markets as well. But our core customer is just gender non-conforming, smack in the middle. I don't want to deal with any of the other stuff kind of person. I think at first it was only word of mouth because we didn't even have an email list. It was just like out of the blue, I just pulled this up, boom, threw it on there. So it was mainly word of mouth. I think word of mouth still is our biggest ally still today, because I have a lot of people that write in or call or that I meet that say, oh, my friend bought it, so I had to go get it, or my friend told me about it. We have people that write in and say, well, I have to tell my friends about it. So word of mouth is a big deal for us, a very big deal for us. We take care of our customers as much as we can, as closely and as personally as we can, in order to make sure that they're happy and that they let everybody else know that they're happy, of course. But we are starting to participate in a lot of different events throughout the country that have starting to give us a little more brand awareness throughout the country. Again, going back to all goes down to money is what comes down to money as well, because we're self-funded. It's kind of hard to do all kinds of, do everything we want to do is kind of hard because everything takes a lot of money. So now we're in a position where we've started to slowly come into, being able to advertise in certain websites and starting to do certain events. And we've been asked to donate for several galas that are throughout the country that raise funds for LGBT youth or LGBT education. And so we're starting to get approached for these things as well. So it's been a gradual thing. It's been slow but steady. We advertise on a few websites, a few blogs. That's fairly new. We've been doing that for maybe a year and a half. For 2 years, we've done the website Autostraddle. They do a summer camp, and we've been one of their big supporters, and we do their biggest giveaway. So that we got some advertising through there, and we got to interact with some customers there as well. I think that was the biggest thing we've done so far until this year, was Autostraddle's camp. And we also were part of their affiliate program, so whoever buys our product through their website, they get paid for it. So they like promoting us, which is cool. I'm not going to complain. It depends on who's closer to the phone and who's closer to the computer. That's kind of the real truth behind it. I am the most proud of the difference I can make in people's lives through my creations, through my simple, what I can come up with in my imagination and bring to life that can make such a big difference in somebody's life. That's what I'm most proud of. And that we can keep growing and keep finding these solutions to touch people's lives. And people think that clothing is not important, that it's just a material thing. It's just something it's what you put on to cover yourself up. And it means nothing. And it actually means a lot, because the first thing people see is who you are, how you see, how they see you physically. And what you wear affects how you feel internally. And that is all expressed in how you walk, how you talk, how you portray yourself. So I think it all comes together. And so what you wear can make a huge difference in who you are. And I'm not saying, well, if you wear a certain brand, you're better. No, it means that if you feel comfortable and you feel confident in what you're wearing and you feel good in what you're wearing, everybody who sees you and meets you will see that. And I think that we've been able to create a brand that allows people to feel great and feel as good as they want to feel inside, outside. And that's what I'm most proud of, that we can accomplish that through my art. Yes, by far. If you don't mind, I want to read you some comments about the compression tops.
Yeah.
Let me get those for you. This one says, trans mask guy here. This top changed my life. I refused to swim for years because the dysphoria and not being able to feel comfortable in anything. This top doesn't make me even think twice about swimming, and it doubles as an excellent workout binder. I got a medium, and then he explains what size he got and how it fits in the whole thing. That sentence, it changed my life. Followed by, I received this top in an extra large black, and I feel it has already changed my life. I tried it on, and it felt and looked so comfortable, exactly what I wanted. I'm so excited to go to the beach for the first time in years. That's why I do what I do. See, I get teary-eyed every time I read these. I mean, there's some that just like are mind-blowing. Let me find this is the only swimsuit I have ever felt comfortable in. I would size down if you're between sizes to keep snugs. If it's a swimsuit, it should fit. Incredibly comfortable, and although it's not a binder, it's the best next thing. This one says, I love this product. I'm almost 50 years old, cis dyke who made a baby in her body and fed her with my boobs. I love that I can look and feel like myself, pretty much like a teenage boy, while doing all my favorite summer activities like running, kayaking, biking, sup, and swimming. I'm looking forward to purchasing a swimmy this summer. The flat river is a little heavy, so it was nice to have the shorter version in the hottest days for wearing under a rash guard. See, so that's why I do what I do. That's exactly why I do what I do. It's not, oh, I wear the coolest thing, or, this is the thing in style right now. It's, this changed my life. A piece of clothing changed somebody's life. I swear I get teary-eyed every single time. That's why I do what I do. Most of my customers write that they haven't been swimming for years. That means that they haven't spent time outside with their families, with their loved ones, with their dog, because what they could find to put on the outside was affecting them so much internally. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, fashion isn't just what's in vogue. It's what can change your life to make you feel who you want to be and who you are internally. So, yeah, it's very powerful. It's very, very powerful. You know what? I think the only thing that really surprised me is I knew this was a need, and I knew that there was a gap for this in this market that I could help. I never thought the impact would be this profound, because when I first came up with the idea, yeah, I heard these horror stories about how ill-fitting top was, or how ill-fitting the bottom was, or wearing this 2 sizes down in a sports bra and then a big t-shirt on top, and how uncomfortable that was. Yeah, that felt like, yeah, I can help make them a little more comfortable, but I never thought I would be told, you changed my life. So that was a very sweet surprise that it wasn't just, oh, now I feel comfortable. It's, you changed my life. So that, I think that's the biggest surprise I've gotten, which I'm very grateful for. Very, very grateful for. Yeah, I swear, I get these, as soon as I get emails or comments or anything, I share them with everybody around me. I mean, anybody who's around at that moment, I'm like bawling, reading, guess what we just got? And we just got another email. And it's just, I love sharing those, because this is really, really hard work, and it's hours of grueling work, and it makes it worth it. So when you feel like a brand has made a difference in your life, let them know, because it makes a difference, because you don't see the back end, and the back end is like, oh, hustle, tired, and we need to hear that. So when days like those days when you say, why am I doing this? That helps you, pick up and keep going. It makes a world of difference. Financials
Mm.
are always a struggle because we have to make sure that we can produce the right amount and still have money to pay for everything. And so that's always kind of a hurdle. And I want to make so much more, and I want to produce so many more products and add new stuff to the store. But I have to hold back. I have all these amazing ideas and all these drawings and everything, and I have to hold back. I have to go step by step. I can only introduce 2 more products right now, and I can only, because then we have to reorder from our factory everything that we sell, because we sell out really fast on certain products. So we have to constantly reorder, and I'm not complaining. Luckily, our orders keep getting larger and larger. So, but that means we have to have a lot more money to pay for the production. So financials is, I think, the biggest hurdle that we have. Trying to take it slow and go step by step, and making sure that because I don't have any debt, the company has no debt, and it's self-funded. So I've been very, very careful about that. Everybody knows that everything has to be, checked, and budgets have to be checked, and I don't want anything crazy going on. But I guess besides her, I think at the very beginning we had a few hurdles. We had big hiccups with the factory that we were working with for board shorts. They didn't send what they were supposed to send. What they did send wasn't right. It was just a headache. Even though, I wasn't like I started working them blindly. We worked on samples. We worked on a lot of things. And all of a sudden when production came to come, when we started production, it was just disaster. So we had to find a new factory to work with that, and it took us almost a year to find somebody that we could trust with what we were doing and our sizing and everything. With the rest, it's just patience and working out with the factories what I want and what they can produce and what I ask them to do. And I'm trying to think of what other hurdle, because I'm a very, very positive person. So to me, it's like, that's not a problem. I'll get over it. And then I don't see it as a problem anymore. And then you ask me what my issues were. I'm like, I don't know. Everything's perfect, but it's really not. It's just in my head. It is. Now, I think the only thing we can think of is financials. It's very tough to keep everything. And and we do get sometimes emails or calls like, that's all you offer? I'm like, trust me, we're working on it. I can't offer any more. Wait, calm down, because people don't understand how expensive it is to produce all this and to keep it in stock and have people working to fulfill these orders. And so we started with 4 products. We currently have over 400 SKUs. So we have grown a lot, which means it's a lot of money that we have to have, constantly working on. And like, I haven't made a dime. Like, I don't pay myself a salary. I put everything back in. Everything that's supposed to be, my salary or whatever, everything goes back in. I'm constantly putting everything back in because I want this to grow. I want this to be amazing. I want to hire amazing people, within the community that can really understand what we're doing and embrace what we're doing and be able to, everybody contribute to this amazing brand that stands for so much. So I think that's finance. I think financials are our biggest hurdle. Oh yeah, that's a given. You're never gonna get away from that one. Well, I think the negative feedback we have gotten has been people who keep insisting that we're selling binders and we're not. Even though it's plastered everywhere, this is not a binder. So we get a lot of people either sending it back or yelling at us on their web and we don't take off any negative comments. We always leave them on, so that some people just don't like it. We're not for everybody. But we have had people comment, very few luckily, but we've had people say, the comment is, this is the worst product in the world. It's not a binder. It doesn't bind. It's not a binder. I mean, I don't know how else to explain that we can't produce a binder that stretches and moves and swims with you. This is the closest thing you can get. But you know what? You learn from negative feedback. So what we did was I created what we call the Flatsy S, which is the super compression. We only have one of those right now, and it's only in one color right now because it's a lot more expensive to produce. But it actually it's a high compression Flatsy, which is the long top that's the closed in the front and the top. And it has, on top, additionally to the 3 layers of fabric it has to compress, it has an extra layer of this super duper 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 tight knit mesh fabric in the inside that only covers the breast area, and it crosses in the back, so it pulls you in the back, like it's like pulling you back like a weight. And this thing is like, I don't know, people trying to put, I've never tried to put it on. I don't want to try to put it on because putting it on models in our fit model is like, oh God, it's like trying to swim into something. I think that's the first product I have to add a zipper to because it's just like unbearable to put on. But that product came from negative feedback from people complaining this isn't a binder, it doesn't bind. Okay, so how do I, if I can't make you understand this isn't a binder, how do I make this better? How do I serve you? So I came up with this product, which is, there's no way you can get closer to a binder than this. This is like hardcore, but you can still swim in it and run in it and jump in it and, you know, whatever, lift weights in it, but it is darn close to a binder. I mean, try to put it on and you'll know it's darn close to a binder. It is very hard to put on. But, you know, so that came from negative feedback. So you learn from everything. If you take everything with a grain of salt, one thing you need to know as a designer is you have to have very thick skin. Very thick skin. Because, I mean, it still, I mean, I'm human. So it does affect me when I get nasty comments. And for like a second there, I think, oh, they don't like my art. And then I, you know, oh, okay, wait. No, it's not me. Let's not take it personal. I have to kind of talk myself out of it. Okay, now let's go into business mode. How do I solve this? You know, what can I make better? For a second there, it does affect me. I cannot lie. But you learn from it. And you move on and make better products, and you help your, you know, you fulfill that little need that your customer really needs. Yeah, but it does hit me. You know, this is because it's so, what I do is so personal. Yeah. And I have such a passion for it that I'm human, it's gonna hit me. But you do have to have really, really thick skin where, yeah, you allow yourself that 30 seconds or a minute to, let's say, grieve, and then you have to get up and go. You have to say, you know what? Fine, let me learn from that and move on. Because if not, you'll never make it as a designer. I mean, what we do is so, you know, I'm looking for a particular word. It's so it's so easily judged, and everybody has different tastes. So not everything is for everybody. Nothing is for everybody. So that's something that every designer doing whatever in this industry has to really grasp and understand deeply. It is not you personally. And take that with a grain of salt and turn it into something positive. Learn from that feedback, as negative and as harsh as it may. Hey, some people might just say, you know what, your product stinks, and that's it. That's the only comment. And then you're like, well, it's definitely just not with them. That's period. You know, whatever. But when it's like a direct comment, take that and learn from it, and turn it into something better. And that's it. I mean, again, we're human. Take it, breathe it in, cry a little, and then move on. And rub it off and move on. There you go. Initially when I started, I had lost my original business, my bridal business, and I had put so much more into 14 as well that I was like really strapped for cash, and I was doing it by myself. I started 100% by myself. So I had an aunt and my mother both saw me trying to put this together, going, well, when can I start it if I have to find money? And they both said, you know what, we'll give you the initial cash, you just pay us back later. And I started with their initial cash. They gave me $2,500 each. My first production order though was over $10,000, so that wasn't even close. But since I pre-sold everything, I covered my initial order for products with my pre-sale. And I knew it worked once I did the pre-sale. And then, you know, shortly after I paid them back, and everything's been self-funded since. Well, I believe in karma. Everything that goes around comes around. So I make sure that everything is done right, that everybody's taken care of, that everybody's treated properly. And, and I try to work with factories that are very careful with what they do to the environment as well with what we're producing, because the garment industry is one of the worst industries for the environment. So we do try to keep that in mind. There's certain things that there aren't any solutions for currently, but we do try to work. For example, most of the dyes that are used for our fabrics are biodegradable. They're not thrown back in to just water out there. One of the factories we work with actually recycles and cleans out all the water that they use right in their plant. So they're constantly cleaning and reusing all that water, so it never goes out and pollutes anything else. We do have a lot of, like, some of our tank tops are made with recycled bottles, plastic bottles, that are turned into fibers that are turned into textile, and we make them out of that. Some of our board shorts are made out of recycled fabric as well. So we do try as much as possible here and there to make sure that we make the most impact in what we can within the constraints of the garment industry, that we can harm the earth a little less. And as new technology is created, and we can work around these little issues that add up so quickly, once we can do that, we'll keep adding them on. As soon as we can create a fabric that stretches, that doesn't pollute as much, we'll work with that. And so we're constantly trying to find ways to add our little grain of salt to making the world a better place. I have a meeting, so I'm telling you this before it even happens, but I have a meeting next week with one of the founders of Aqua, which is a great foundation based here in South Florida. They're a women's foundation. They work with LGBT youth, and they really do really great things. They're known for Aqua Girl, which is like this huge pool party event, but they're actually a really cool foundation. So we're meeting with them next week, and I'm going to be speaking to the founder and ways that we can help raise funds for their foundation. We got tons of ideas on what's really going to come of this meeting, or what we're really going to, what's going to happen. But I want to do fashion shows that will raise funds for the kids, and they do a lot of work with homeless LGBT youth. So I'd love to have a show where the kids are the ones that put the show together, that they do the makeup, they do the art, the lighting, they do the stage. So they get with mentors, but they get the experience. They can put their talent to work, and then they can use that for something else later on in life. For you never know what kind of job you can get or what you can do with that. But and it's a creative outlet. But also, like, I want to do a calendar with the LGBT youth, where we can do all kinds of pictures for the entire year, everybody wearing Outplay, and then we can sell this calendar. It just raised funds for the foundation, which would be awesome. So I have tons and tons of these ideas. So I have this meeting next week, so let's see what comes of that. We have been, like I mentioned before, we've been approached by several organizations throughout the country to be involved in their fundraising galas. And so we've donated gift certificates and products, and to add our little bit here and there. But I think that we're really starting with outreach now, because we're at a point where we finally can take that little bit of a breather to be able to have time to do that. So that you'll see a lot more of that happening with Outplay from now on, because we're finally getting there where we can really help. Because before, what were you going to do? Like, here's a sticker. Yeah, that helps. Yeah.